water's green. Okay. Go ahead, assignment desk. I've been streaming and I didn't even know it. Is there a pill or something I can take for that? If you guys are watching us on the web, I got to keep one ear on the on the station because they are going to take us again here and there and stuff like that. If you guys are wondering where this is and you haven't been watching, shame on you. This is Burbank. This is going to be Verdugo Hills. I got to kind of listen, see where we are in the rundown. Fire itself, pretty much out. It was really dramatic earlier today. A lot of flames, a lot of heavy smoke, but, you know, it is just what they keep saying. If you guys have that brush clearance in the area around your home to keep your home safe, it does help. And then today we actually saw it happening. I mean, these are $1-million homes. They're using a lot of concrete and clearance around the defensible space is what they call it, around the homes, making it work. I mean, it's like giant cool patios and stuff around that house, but it did. Yes, sir, flood. I have no numbers. That would be from the desk. I haven't heard anything. I don't even have an acreage. So right now, you guys are watching. I, again, totally appreciate it. CBS appreciates it. KCAL appreciates it. Yeah, everybody. Marcos nodding his head in a way. He appreciates it. But the fire itself pretty much out. We're keeping an eye on the crews down there. They're doing the back-breaking work of cutting those lines, getting those containment numbers, making sure there are no hot spots. This is technology is coming into this. So like every now and then we'll see the helicopters making these drops in these trees because there might be hot spots underneath there. There might be smoldering embers in the brush underneath those trees that we're not seeing, not enough to put out a lot of smoke. So, but enough that it could start to do another fire, especially when it gets nighttime, a little bit of wind starts blowing, and then boom, we got another big problem. So that's what's going on right now. Crews are down there doing it the old-fashioned way, chainsaws, shovels, Pulaski tool, working, cutting line, basically making sure all those hot spots are not going to be hot spots anymore. But take a look, that hillside totally devoid of any kind of vegetation, especially up on the hills as those flames burn through there this afternoon. There you go, LA County Fire doing another drop in an area where, again, you might be watching and saying, what's he doing? He totally missed it. But check that out. See all that steam? See all that happens right there? Those are hot spots. I wouldn't be... Stand by. We're doing some live. Copy. Well, Rick, Pat, there's probably going to be a little of this going on all night long. Now, this is going to be the hot spots that they're talking about. These very dangerous. They're not always very prevalent like that one right there. We've been watching the helicopters dropping water on a lot of these big, thick tree-filled areas, and we also see the crews down there. Now, we know from experience that one of the reasons why they're doing that is there probably some sort of heat signatures. There may be hot spots in these areas, and that's what they're doing. Those crews are down there doing it the old-fashioned way. Chainsaws and picks and shovels and basically just going in there and turning the dirt around and making sure there are no hot spots. But when they're larger areas and harder to get to, they'll bring in those helicopters. They've got the directions. They'll tell them where to drop, and we'll see it. Just moments ago, we saw a drop of the 412 from LA County Fire. They still have some helicopters overhead. I believe that they've started to release some of the city fire helicopters, but they're still going to have at least 4 out here. But then what I was going to say was they drop, and we see in the canyon area, and then all of a sudden we see all the steam come up. Now that was fire or heat that we were not seeing from the eyes. They probably have some sort of electronics that lets them know, and of course the old-fashioned people on the ground saying these areas are hot, we need to get those spots out. But we heard from the county, from the fire department earlier on, the chief from Burbank Fire saying that even though they're hot spots, if there's no fuel above it, there's no place for that fire to go. Yet they want to make sure it is all out, completely out, before they even leave. We haven't heard any containment numbers, and we haven't heard about an acreage as of yet, but we can see those fire drops. It was an LA City Fire one, continue to happen out here in Burbank. Live in Sky 2, I'm Stu Mandel. Back to you guys in the studio. Copy, thank you. So you internet folk that are out there, I'm still trying to hook up with you guys. Got the trying to get the old iPhone up and running. Trying to get on the internet. It's not the phone. It's location, location, location. You sometimes up here in the helicopter we get it really well. Sometimes we don't. Right now is the don't time. But I do see that people are mentioning things. I'm getting tagged and stuff. I do appreciate that. I'm trying to get some answers for you guys. The fire itself, pretty much out. We did see earlier on, that's what we were poking around. If you've been watching since the get-go, we saw the fire get so close, actually burned some stuff here in this corner. Don't know what it was. It might have been just some of that shading that they have on the fences up here, but we definitely saw something burning out there earlier on. There's it almost looks like a flagpole area. We saw what looked like a umbrella earlier on and some property over, I believe, in this area right here. But all that very minimal damage considering all the homes that are in the area and all the stuff around there. You can see how some of the brush burned right up to these buildings, and in other areas the brush kind of slowed down before it got to the property lines. All that, it's a combination as it's firefight, wind conditions, what was going on at the time. A lot of times you can see like the completely burned right up to that building right there, and then right next to it you've got some green. That's just the nature of wildfires. It just happens like that. Sometimes the fire will actually pass and the fuel can't burn backwards, so you'll have those little spots like that. We've been hearing about the Burbank Fire Department talking on air about the brush clearance and how they keep hammering people about that, and it worked so greatly. This is some of that new fencing that's all plastic. I was thinking about getting some of this for my house, but it would have been like a full fence. But at any rate, you can see right there just the heat, probably from just the heat being pushed up the hillside, melting that fencing. And you have to understand too that one of the reasons I'm showing this is firefighters sometimes stand that close to that heat that's blowing up there. Of course, they have all that gear on, that Nomex and those jackets and the pants that protect them but it is still, trust me, it is still unpleasant, it is still hot, and it's still nasty. And that's what's going on for these firefighters out here. Earlier on, there's a little tiny windmill right there, and man, that thing was just singing earlier. Now just kind of doing what it's supposed to be doing, that lazy kind of turning right there. Now these firefighters, they're rightfully so, probably exhausted. They've been out there breathing all that heavy smoke and making sure that they had the fire lines, meaning their hoses in place, and they were able to attack any flames that were coming close to any of these parcels of property. Right now, you know, this is the time when they probably slow down a little bit. They've got other crews coming in that are going to be doing the mop-up. They're going to be down there. They're going to make sure that those hot spots in the lower areas are going to be taken care of. We've been watching them still continuing to do drops out here, making sure that those hot spots are cooled and won't be hot for long. It is really a group, multiple agencies out here battling these fires this afternoon, and they are all talking to each other in one form or another. You got county fire, city fire, and of course Burbank fire, all there on the ground. These guys just getting just to pull that line up on these hillsides, hundreds of feet from the trucks. First of all, just the technology involved in it, the trucks being able to make that pressure, those hoses being able to handle that pressure, and of course that abuse being dragged up these hillsides, and then the guys, the strength just to do that. And then when they get there, their firefight, it isn't over, it's just starting. Now though, it seems that you can see it being a little bit slower, a little bit more relaxed. They're basically just going around making sure that all these hot spots are taken care of, that tonight, if they make us come back at the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to be like, nothing here, it's all good, see you later, bye. That is the worst thing for anything for firefighters to have happen, is them to walk away and then the fire to reignite. Right now, though, they've got enough people on the ground, they've got a lot of crews out here, they're going to make sure that this is all out and safe before they walk away. But pretty much haven't heard the words knockdown, haven't heard containment numbers, but it's pretty close and to being completely out. But these firefighters will be here probably well into the night, maybe even to the morning hours. Copy all. Micah, you can interrupt me. I'm just yammering over the internet stuff. My phone just gave me a warning that there's a brush fire in the area. Yeah, if you can, that'd be awesome. They don't know. Oh, it's us. Abby. Yeah, happy, thank you. There he goes. Probably moving crews out of the way. No internet connection. Wah, wah. What you looking at? Another fire? Copy. You're the one that said you could hover, man. I was like, you should move around. Well, Pat, you know, you're right. That smoke is pretty much cleared, and now the ground crews are down there doing those containment numbers, making sure that all those hot spots are not going to be hot anymore. They're out there cooling those down. Sometimes they have the luxury of using water. Other times these guys are down there with chainsaws and axes, just basically clearing that brush and making sure that they get in there to make sure that there is nothing hot. But this is just one tiny spot out here in this what was a large fire in the Burbank Hills up in the Verdugo Mountains. Take a look at that. Now, all this was covered with brush earlier this afternoon, now totally gone. Those flames came so incredibly close to a lot of homes out here. We watch as homeowners help fire department with pulling lines and trying to keep their homes safe. Luckily, everything in the end, well, luckily, you know what? They did a lot to make it happen. It wasn't just luck. It was the firefighters' knowledge and then also the homeowners using those clearance that they've been talking about so much when the people living out here in the brush areas to make sure that they have defensible space around their homes. That has all was into play today, taken into play, and you can see the results. All these homes are safe. A lot of hot spots out here. Helicopters still dropping water. Crews still on the ground. Happening out here in the Verdugo Hills in Burbank. Live in Sky 2, I'm Stu Mendel. Back to you guys in the studio. Copy. Somebody was asking me on the internet, getting a little bit of internet now, where this was or where this is. It's going to be in the Verdugo Hills. 1000 Hamlin is where this thing started, but I think it's called Crestview is the area where it burned up to. Hamlin is down low, Crestview was up high. just moving around the camera. I'm listening as one of the ground reporters at the helicopter basically just flew over him. So I wanted to make sure if he makes a drop that we got it, or they could have switched around back and forth. But you can see these helicopters still out here, still dropping water. And they're going to be out here for some time. They got a lot of activity, a lot of hot spots. They got to make sure that all that temperature is level all the way across the area where that fire was. They want to make sure that it's completely safe before any of these firefighters leave. But of course, they've been swapping out crews. New crews have been coming in. Other crews are resting, getting some R&R after a long battle with that fire and that smoke this afternoon. No, man, it's all good. No, I never would say that. Just like that. Just listening to somebody on CBS right now. They're doing an interview, and one of the homeowners are talking about how quickly things happen, and it does. It's something that you really got to think about, especially if you live in the brush fire areas, and if you've never been through a brush fire. I'm just telling you from experience that the fire moves so fast, and it can consume so much so quickly. And a lot of times it was just a little bit of wind and a little bit of light fuel. The flames just rip through, and they will grab onto anything bigger as it superheats and the fire just entrenches itself. So that's the things that you've got to think about, especially in the brush fire areas. They talk about the brush for the clearance, the defensible space around homes. Also very important, because if you don't have anything that can burn near the house, if it's not like a high winds pushing those flames, your home probably going to be safe. We see some of that this afternoon with when these, like just looking at some of these homes. This fenced area right here, that wasn't fire that cleared that. That was just an area that was cleared. And you can see how it melted down here because this area wasn't cleared. And then also you can see how it just picks and chooses. It runs right up to some of the property. And some of the brush still here. So defensible space, it's no joke. These guys know what they're talking about. And if you have a home on a hill or in a brushed area, something you need to think about. They still have foliage around the homes. They still have mature trees between the houses. As long as you're on a hillside, as long as this area right here is clear, those homes can be protected or more protected than some of the other homes. And then, of course, if you have something new, you can see how the modern buildings out there, they're basically building in that defensible space by creating these huge patios around it. I mean, it looks beautiful, it works, but it's also very practical. So that's one of the things that's going on there. We actually had flames earlier on. We could actually see them as they ran up the hillside, and you could see them through those glass planes right there. So this was a very serious fire. These homes, the work of the firefighters, and of course the residents keeping these homes safe the way they do. And of course Burbank, we were hearing Burbank City actually does brush clearance for these homes. So all that really kept this neighborhood safe this afternoon. He's out there picking and choosing, or is he getting information? So you're watching how these helicopters they've got a spot that they need to drop on, but there's actually personnel on the ground on a slope area, so that's the reason why they're not dropping. They're waiting to clear that personnel out of that spot. This guy, hopefully he's out of the way now because he's going to get wet. And it's not just wet. I mean, that's a lot of water. It's going to make it very slippery. You can knock people over. That's going to be a high and wide drop. That's basically a lot of misting down there, cooling down some of the ground, maybe even cooling down some of these guys. I can tell you that when I was one day for a couple of hours out with these guys, my favorite part was getting wet. In the end, when they did the drops, that is back-breaking work, and in the heat out there on a hillside, I can't even imagine what these guys are going through. Actually, I can imagine now. So, anyways, that's what's going on right there. The helicopter's still in the area. They're still picking and choosing. They're getting all those hot spots. They're trying to cool down all the areas that could reignite. Most of the fuel around the homes has been cleared because of the fire that was here, but these crews are going to be here for some time. I guess. I mean, this fire's out. They haven't said it officially, but so much wrong would have to happen to make this a fire again. LA City Fire Augusta making a really cool drop. That pilot doing some real flying right there. That was pretty cool to watch. Earlier on, I mean, it's like, you know, we can tell fish stories all day long, but we saw an awesome drop when this fire was like really burning by LA County Fire. They came up over by this home right there and did this like yank and bank and through the water. It was so cool to watch. But that was earlier on when there was a lot of active flame and a lot of smoke down there, which also obscures the helicopters' line of sight. They can't see, and they don't want to fly into a dangerous situation, or maybe a flagpole, gosh only knows. So, yeah, they were doing higher drops, and they were getting in where they could get in. That was what they were doing earlier on. They would see that smoke clear, like we would peek in and see people. They would get in as quick as they could and drop water and get out. But right now, that firefight, all that's in the past. It's all kind of mop up from here. Just taking a look at these hillsides, keeping an eye on what's going on, and making it happen for CBS tonight. Gloria, yeah, it's Ham Line Drive. That's where it started, and it got up to Crestview Drive, Verdugo Hills. Peter Parker. What about the new Minions? Yeah. So do I, brother. So do I. Just in a lump sum, though. Oh. Well, I'm older than you, but yeah, I remember that. I did that negotiation and paid him off. Really? Somebody said that to you? It is awesome, man, and you are an awesome pilot. You are living your dream, brother. I gotta be careful. My mic is open. This is where you send us home? All right, copy all. Hey, Facebook, I see the numbers weren't that fantastic, but then again, I mean, come on, look at this. This is not that much of a fire, and plus, I don't have the option of talking at you guys and interacting, and, anyway, enough of the excuses. Thank you so much for listening to us this afternoon. I appreciate it, and earlier on, I wish I could have gotten to your comments. It's so bizarre. We're out in the middle of IE at like 8,000 feet, and I had internet better than I have internet today at wherever we are, 3,000 feet above Burbank. At any rate, I always appreciate the love. I know CBS loves you guys too. If you are internet savvy and you want to follow us on Twitter, you can find me pretty easily, Stu Mandel at Twitter. And of course, CBS would love to have you guys following them along and giving out their alerts and information and all the cool stuff that we do on the television. Of course, that if you join the CBS, you're joining the KCAL. So anyways, the duplicity loves you. I love you. Thank you so much for the time. And hopefully we will have something nifty for you later on. Thanks, y'all.